This is just a short video about how to use Zoom. So once you've downloaded the app onto the computer or your iPad or wherever, you'll be logged in with the St Mary's details. You'll be faced with a screen that looks a bit like this. It's a bit different on the phone, etc. But it is easier to host from a computer if you possibly can, because you've got better access to the controls. At the moment, if you get the home screen, you'll be able to start a meeting, but that just starts from the primary ID and no one can really use that, so you don't really need that one. If you need to join a meeting that someone else has set up, you can press join. If you need to schedule a meeting for another time, you can press schedule, and you don't need to worry about that one there. If you want to see the meetings that we've already got going on, you click up here where it says meetings, and then it'll tell you what is here. These are both set up as reoccurring meetings, which means they can be started at any time. And they're both set up in a way that means anybody can join prior to the host joining. So they can happen if there isn't a host, but you really need a host ideally to manage the meeting. They're set up in a different way. The live worship is set up in a way where people can't they can't really unmute themselves. They'll come in with their videos turned off and they'll come in muted, and that means that you can do worship on there and not have someone kind of come in halfway through and make a racket over your prayers or whatever. The meeting room set up differently. People should have their videos and be unmuted when they arrive, unless they've changed their own settings. So it helps people to communicate a bit better. So the meeting room is the one you're going to use most initially. You'll be using that for coffee mornings and groups. So when you want to start the meeting, you go onto the screen. If you need to let somebody have the invitation, you can press copy on there and just when you send them an email with it in, just delete the bits that aren't necessary. Anyway, you just press start. So now you get my fringe being all over the place. So when you are in the meeting room, you will also come in muted. So you'll need to remember to unmute yourself. And then you've got the various different ways in which you can do things along the bottom of the screen here. If you need to mute yourself, you can do, or stop your video for any reason, you can do. If you click on participants, you'll get a list of the participants here. Obviously, there's only me in this at the moment, but if someone else were in, you'd be able to click on that more, and there would be a range of different options. You could rename the person. Say they've come in, as iPad 3 or a telephone number. You can rename them so you know who they are. But you can also do various other things, including muting them, asking them to unmute, etc. On there, and you can even kick them out of the room if they're being completely unruly, or they shouldn't be there if someone else wanted just to get in for some reason. So that's the participants, and if you want to get rid of that, you just click on that little arrow at the top there and you can close that to go back to full screen. You can also utilise the chat, but many people haven't got to grips with this, so there's probably not a great deal of point. But if you needed to share any information that was written down, you could do so in the chat there. So we'll close that one. You can share your screen, and if you want to share your screen, things will come up like this. You can either share the desktop so people can see everything that you've got, or you can share a particular page that you've got open on your computer. And you just click share and it will pop up. Now when you click that share, let's have a look. So that's what I've got open at the moment. You'll see that your controls jump to the top here and they disappear after a while. They should do. There we go. Once you're sharing, you'll have a box up here. So you'll normally see you first of all, and then there'll be a whole range of people. You can minimize that to make it like that. You can also go up here and you can, let me have a look. You can do various things in here. You can hide that video panel. So if it was getting in your way and you were sharing a screen for some reason and you didn't want to see it, you could get rid of it. You can go send this live on Facebook from here. You can record what's going on. Say if you're having a meeting where you need to be able to refer back to it, you just need to, should really tell people that you're recording it if you do that. And you can also sort out the breakout rooms from there. If you are on here though and you need to show people stuff, if they're not seeing it, you can always go in and press annotate, and you can have your mouse around. You can have a select thing so you can show people they need to be in a particular area. You can draw, so if you need them to click on a particular thing, you can put a lasso around it, etc. And then you can just clear it there, clear all drawings, and do that. So that's fairly straightforward. You can pause sharing your screen. I've never done that, but you can. And you can still access the other various things. So one of the things, particularly in a worship room, for example, if you do a carol service or something like that, is if I'm doing got the screen shared with the service sheet on it, I'll also have my list of participants up, and then I can unmute people or ask people to unmute and mute them, etc., etc., from that panel. No one else can see that. They can only see what's on your screen, so they can't see you faffing around with the panel here. So you don't need to worry that that'll be in people's way. Then when you want to stop screen share, you just click on stop share and it'll go back to normal. You can set up a poll. I've never done it, so I'm not really sure how it works. So play with that if you want to. You can record, and you can record either to the cloud or to your computer. I would recommend recording to your computer, and then you can delete it afterwards more easily. This is the breakout room function, and you can split people into several rooms, and you can do it automatically or manually. If you click manually, you can then rename these rooms as we have done, and you can actually assign people to particular rooms. So if you know you're having a discussion and it's going to be more fruitful if certain people are with each other or not with each other, you can make that work in that way. So and then once you've done it, you just open the rooms at the right time and people will be invited to join them. And I think that is all you really need to know in terms of how to use Zoom. So you can just play around with various things, and I'm sure there are other YouTube videos that are really helpful that might update you on various things if you need to do that. At the end, you can either leave the meeting, in which case the host will just be randomly assigned to somebody else, but you'll normally just end meeting for all. And that's all you need to do. Just to show you how you might set up a new meeting, if we click on schedule, you give it a name. Let's call this test meeting. There are a couple of things that you need to do. So you might want to put a particular meeting at a particular time. So let's say this Sunday at 10:30 a.m. It could be a long meeting. Or you could create a recurring meeting, which will mean it can happen whenever you want it to happen, and people can just use the same code to get in. So it's up to you. It'll generate a meeting ID automatically. Do not use personal meeting ID. Don't give that out. Always use generate automatically. And it will require a password. Now you can change the password. You can make one that is going to be more familiar to you. So I use 12/1959 for another one because it's the month and year of the church's birthday, so it's easy to remember. You can set whether you want your video to be on or off when people come in, and whether the participants should be on or off, so depending on what type of meeting. And then you set up the audio if anyone's going to join from a phone. You'll see it automatically says dialing from the US, so you need to edit that, and you need to put in United Kingdom and remove United States, and then when it gives you the information, it'll make sure that it's okay for them to join. Now, advanced options are useful as well. If you want to enable a meeting room, waiting room, so if you're setting up a meeting and you don't want people to go into the room before you start, put that waiting room in, and then you could admit people. And that's particularly handy for a security feature as well, if you're ever needing a security feature. You can do it so that people can join before you or not. I normally leave it so that people can, but say you're having an important meeting and you don't want much to happen before you get there, you can wait, leave people there, and you can decide whether people are going to be muted upon entry or not. and you can say whether you're going to automatically record the meeting. So I had that selected when we were doing the worship because I was then sharing the video afterwards through the private Facebook group. But just remember that if you're wanting to record, you really should tell people that it is recorded for data protection, and they can decide to have their name not on the screen or their video off, particularly if you're putting it anywhere. And then you would just click schedule. So I'll schedule that one now. Oh, it tries to take me to there. We don't need that. I'm going to come back to here. And now you can see that there is a test meeting set up for here. Now we don't actually need that. So if you accidentally do one, just go in, delete it. And you can recover meetings for up to 7 days afterwards, as you saw then. So that works well. So that's all you should really need to know. If you need to go into the settings for the Zoom, you click on there and it'll take you through things. Let's view more settings. Now when you go to view more settings, it will actually take you to the web page for Zoom. And in with Google. And it'll take you to all of these things. And so you can you can look at the profile of the thing, you can look at the meetings that have been set up, you can do all sorts of stuff in here. You can sort out your pricing, you can yeah, we're currently on this one, I think, but we're on it on a monthly basis. So they've obviously changed that. There we go. No, we're on this one. And I think, unless they've taken the price down, maybe it's that one and it's taking the price down. Anyway, you don't need to worry, but you can have a look at these different things if you need to have a look. But you probably won't need to be perfectly honest. I think that's enough. I think that's everything. So have a little play and hopefully you'll find that fairly simple. Thanks everyone. Bye.